Good afternoon, my friends, and my enemies too. If you're out there watching, you're also welcome. It is time to film another Q&A. I've been inundated with some amazing questions because this is the last Q&A that I will be doing before taking on my most difficult challenge yet, a row across the North Atlantic Ocean, a feat that has been completed less than 40 times in human history, and we are attempting to set the world record for the fastest ever crossing. So I thought, let's lock in what my mindset's like before the row, answer some questions, all kinds of questions as normal, philosophical, mindset-based, fitness-based, travel-based, some about the row as well, and a couple of you asking for some personal advice. And I'm gonna try and do all of them because, well, as many as possible. We'll see how we go for time. You're an inspiration. What is your daily diet and supplement like to maintain your fitness and well-being? Are you open to cuisines from different cultures? Thank you very much for considering me an inspiration. That's very nice of you to say. Or your inspiration, I should say. My daily diet and supplement routine, I should caveat, like, just because I'm doing something doesn't mean that you should do something. Everyone is different. And also over the last few years, I've just been maintaining my physique as opposed to trying to build it. But in general, a whole food diet is 100% what you need to be aiming for. So that's a lot of animal protein, that is beef, chicken, fish, eggs as well, and milk I consume a lot of, and a lot of all of those things, not just a lot of milk. I have oats for breakfast every single day, a fair amount of wheat in my diet, being from the UK, lots of bread, pasta, that kind of thing, good for get the calories in, rice as a carb source and potatoes as a carb source. And I'm way more of a fruit man than a vegetable man. I have very few vegetables. I supplement micronutrients with a multivitamin and also a lot of fruit. My goat fruit is kiwi and bananas. I have at least 6 to 12 kiwis a week and a couple of bananas as well. That is my general diet. Are you open to cuisines from different cultures? Yes, I'm not really a foodie, i.e. it doesn't give me a sensational overload and I don't have a really strong desire to chase food in different cultures, but I've tried them everywhere I've gone and enjoy food like the rest of you. What do you expect going to change after the rowing expedition? Physically, spiritually, and mind thoughts? Deep question. Physically, we are going to be consuming around 8,000 calories per day, and my calculations, if they are correct, suggest we're going to be expending around 10,000 calories a day. It's hard to know exactly. So that is a net calorie deficit of 2,000 calories. I expect to lose something between 5 kilos and 15 kilos of body weight. Obviously, I don't have much fat to lose, so a lot of that is going to come from muscle. I currently weigh 90 kilos. At the start line, I'll weigh 90 kilos. So I'll come back anything between 85 and 75. And I'm going to do a physique check before and after, so you've got those photos. And also we're going to build it back up after. I'm not sure what weight I'll want to sit at after. Maybe I'll try and sit a bit lighter for other athletic endeavors rather than coming all the way back up to 90 kg. But we'll see, and I'll do a recomposition. It'll be easy for me to get in shape again after. So that's the physical change. Spiritually and mentally, that's why I'm taking it on. I have absolutely no idea. I know it's going to be mentally crushing and in the best way possible, because it will force me to reinvent myself and understand things about myself that I can't possibly have any foresight into now. And that's as much insight as I can give there. I'll be hardened, more grounded somewhat, but let's find out exactly what that looks like. I have one important question. What kind of camera do you use? I'm filming this right now on a Sony ZV-E10. When I'm out and about, I use this iPhone 14, and I have a GoPro 10 and a DJI Mavic 3 is the drone that I use. Top question, how will you recover your body after everything? The main way to recover your body is it will be a week of just walking, getting used to being able to walk again, because that will be an issue for the first few days. So walking, normal sleep cycle, and just recovering fuel into the body. I imagine, I'm just guessing, but I'll be open to doing exercise like body weight exercises and stretching and rehab after day 3 or 4. For the first couple of weeks, just doing body weight exercises. And then the next 2 weeks after that, getting back into full fitness, running, occasional gym session. And in terms of recovery otherwise, my body's we'll see what happens in terms of physical depletion. That's enough time for muscles and joints to have a little bit of a relax for 3 weeks before getting back into things. And in terms of the other major issue could be sores on the body and skin issues, maybe skin infection or skin issues in general. Don't know what is around the corner. So you just got to wait and let them heal. And I'll be doing that in the UK. What do you recommend for someone when they feel like they've plateaued physically? I've always struggled with deciding when to move up a weight class because I feel I do it too soon out of impatience. Well, that depends on what you want your body composition to look like, because if you want a lean, muscular body, then obviously you can only move up a weight class in the same amount of time that you're able to build the necessary amount of muscle. Otherwise, you're just going to add fat in order to move up the weight class, and that's probably not desirable in terms of what you want for your body. So the bottom line is you need to be patient, and you need to gradually have slightly more calories than your maintenance so that you have enough fuel to grow muscle and build muscle on a slow and consistent basis. I'm not a big fan of the huge loads of cycles of extreme dirty bulk and cut and dirty bulk and cut. You're trying to make lifestyle and habit changes. And the way I made my physique changes was 4 years of a slow and steady increase up to my desired body with consistent habits. And that's the same mindset that I instill into my clients as well. Next question is how to be more confident like you. Confidence comes from having the proof in your mind that you are who you say you are and you can do what you set out to do. And the only way to achieve that is to make yourself uncomfortable by expanding your comfort limit. And then you realize that you can do what you've set out to do, and you've got a stack of proof behind you that you are able to achieve whatever it is that you're setting out. So when you're talking about confidence, whether that's going up and speaking to someone that you find attractive, or public speaking, or even just going to the gym on your own or eating in a restaurant on your own, the only way out of your confidence crisis issues is through. You have to practice, repeat, rinse and repeat, and very quickly you realize you can do it and that there is absolutely nothing to fear in a lot of cases. You just have to get out of your own head. And just improving yourself in various ways increases your self-confidence as well. So you've got to identify the things that you are least happy with about yourself, and make an intentional effort to be better in those areas. Maybe you're out of shape, maybe you're unhealthy, maybe you have bad habits, vaping, smoking, maybe you don't try 100% at work because you don't like your job. There are many areas, or maybe you don't show up in your relationship. There are many areas where you can identify, where am I lacking as a person? And the more of those you fix, the better you feel about yourself, and the more better understanding you have of yourself. And so it allows you to hold yourself with more confidence as you walk into various situations in your life. I also have a free newsletter, my 4 steps to unlimited confidence, and it's a PDF that you can read very quickly, and it outlines everything that I have done and would do in order to increase my confidence overall, and also just how the process of consistently getting better at things. And you can download that for free. I'll put the link in the description of this video, and also you can sign up for my newsletter through downloading that, which will give you some insights as and when I have them, and some tips regarding physical fitness. And on top of that, I also have another free downloadable newsletter while we're at it, which is my 10 tips for staying in shape while traveling. That is still available. You can download it. And so if you go to that link in the description, you'll have the opportunity to download both of those. What was the moment when you hit peak coolness, in brackets, so far? That would be very narcissistic of me if I were to answer a question like that. So of course, I'm going to answer it. Peak coolness is right now. I'm always getting cooler, and I'm the coolest I've ever been right now. But in an hour, I'll then be the coolest I've ever been soon after. And it just keeps getting better. What a life. Next question. What is a common delusion among men your age that needs to be overcome? That's a very deep and interesting question, and I do have an answer for it. Now, I can't speak for all men here, obviously, but something that was a delusion for myself as I was growing up and finding my way into the real world from the ages of 18 to my mid-20s was the idea that things get better on their own and someone's going to come to save you. All of a sudden you grow up and you have a clear path in front of you from school to university to work or whatever it may be, and maybe you have these grand plans for yourself and you think, oh, everything's just going to work out, things get better. And you're going to get a helping hand at some point, and then all of a sudden you reach your early 20s and you think, damn, no one cares about me, no one's coming to help me, and anything that you want you have to work for. Obviously, sounds pretty obvious when I phrase it like that, but yeah, just the idea that people care about whether you succeed or not, and other people are going to come and make your dreams happen. Not going to happen, bro. If you're very lucky, maybe your mum and your dad care about you. Other than that, everyone's busy with their own business. No one cares if you succeed or not. And the only person that can help you and get you to achieve the things you want to achieve is you. You've got to make it happen. Nothing happens. Nothing's going to get handed to you. You have to go out there and do it for yourself. And that's a harsh realization that you have to reach pretty quickly in adulthood. I've been an adult for a while now, but still. When was the last time you felt completely out of your element, and how quickly did you adapt? I'll tell you the next time. Obviously, you know the next time I'll be completely out of my element, which will be as I'm rowing past the Statue of Liberty, 1 day or 2 days into the row across the Atlantic. And how quickly will I adapt? Within 4 days-ish, I think, in that scenario, maybe sooner. Yeah, I would say I'm not often completely out of my element, but I'm constantly slightly out of my element, and expanding my limits, and yeah, obviously adapt accordingly as quickly as possible. I can't think of specific examples because I'm constantly doing it to myself. Everything you've seen on this channel, I'm out of my element most of the time. Are there any tasks that you think all men should do for themselves versus hire someone? I like this question, and I'm going to answer it because I saw something online the other day, and I'm going to try and repeat it as accurately as possible. It's that there are three, actually before I answer it, are there any tasks or jobs that you think that all men should do for themselves? I think should is a very dangerous word, and I try my best not to use the word should, because everyone is entitled to live their lives exactly how they see fit, and it's not helpful to tell other people what they should do. Sometimes I do use the word should. I'm working on it. I'm not perfect. I should be perfect, shouldn't I? The jobs that each man wants to do or woman wants to do is completely up to them, and they obviously bear the consequences of the things that they want to do and the things that they don't want to do. That's the life they want to live. Are there any tasks that all men should do for themselves versus hire someone? I'm going to answer that because I saw something online that was that there are 3 stages of wealth in life, and I really liked it. So stage 1, and I can't remember if it was washing your car or mowing your lawn. So we'll go for the mowing your lawn example. Stage 1 is you have to mow your own lawn. Stage 2 is someone else mows your lawn. And then the wealthiest you can be is you mow your own lawn again. And the reason for that disparity is obviously in stage 1, you mow your own lawn because you can't pay for anyone else to do it, and you are cash poor, and so you need to facilitate that on your own. Stage 2 is you're slightly richer and you're busy, so it's not a good use of your time in order to mow the lawn because you can make more money obviously doing your work and then pay someone else to mow the lawn for you. And then stage 3, optimum wealth, is being able to have the time freedom and the financial freedom in order to take pleasure in doing those simple things, those caretaking jobs, and looking after the environment that you live in. And so ultimate wealth is having that time freedom where you can take on a job like that and enjoy it and not have to worry about money. And so I really like that as a saying, because it's important to remember that your time is more valuable than your money. If you ask anyone that's 90 years old how much they would pay in order to go back to being 20 years old, they would all give up everything in order to go back to being 20. But yeah, you can do what you want. If you want to be good at DIY, if you want to be a good driver or a bad driver, or you want to be a good chef, men and women can do what they want. What's the most valuable lesson that you've learned from your athletic experience? I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's that you will not be given instant feedback for the hard work that you put in. So in the gym, you'll spend your first 6 months going to the gym and maybe not seeing any results at all. Every time you look in the mirror, you feel like you look exactly the same as you looked last time. And it's only when you zoom out that maybe after somewhere between 6 and 12 months, you're like, oh my God, if I look at that picture before and that picture now, I can see that I've made those changes. I've lost that weight, I've built that muscle. But it's still also nowhere near the physique that you want. Even if you've been training for a year or 2 years, you probably don't look the way that you want to look or thought you might after you'd put that amount of effort in. It's only if you consistently keep your head down and stay in it for the long haul that you're going to get that parabolic output of the time that you put in and then the end result. So in my physique, obviously I had years where I was just like really slowly progressing and thinking, what's the point? This is taking so long. I still don't look how I want to look. I'm still showing up every single time. And then all of a sudden, over the final like year and a half, things just blew up. I became way more competent, more optimized, knew what I was doing, had all of that training experience behind me, and then all of a sudden just built the physique. Not all of a sudden, obviously, but then that it was more rapid, the rate of increase, and I got to the physique that I wanted, the physical fitness that I wanted. And the same applies in all areas of life. You just have to keep showing up, gradually improving. Another great microcosm is what I've done with social media. From when I took out the camera, I took out my old iPhone and filmed my first ever video. Now I'm using a proper camera. Now I'm way better at talking. Those kinds of things. You've got to just keep showing up, and bodybuilding taught me that. How long should I have to work out as a skinny toned guy in order to have a physique like you? Well, I've been training for 10 years, so I look now the way I look after 10 years. Obviously, not all of that was dedicated to, all of it was natural, but not all of it was dedicated to getting bigger. So I just tried to get bigger for the first 4 or 5 years, and then just have not tried to do that, just maintained where I'm at for the last 5. I have pretty good genetics, not exceptional genetics, but pretty good genetics. It wasn't by no means easy for me. I really struggled to put on weight. I was really skinny as well when I started. So if you keep your head down, learn quickly from people like me or people that are, you know, well renowned and successful in building physiques, and don't have a bitter mindset. So many people comment like, oh my God, you use steroids, like you're a cheat, that kind of thing. Like, if you go into trying to learn from people with that mindset, then you've just got that loser's mentality from the start. So obviously there are people on the internet that say they haven't used steroids, and they have. And you don't know me. Maybe I'm a liar, but, well, I'm not a liar, but, you know, from your perspective, maybe I am. So, yeah, just keep your head down, do it naturally, optimize your routines, like focus on progressive overload with your training, proper sleep, proper nutrition, learn and improve over time. And, you know, something in the region, you will not get a physique like me, obviously, because you have entirely different genetics and biomechanics and a different body to me. But to get your best physique, between 5 and 10 years is reasonable, just in terms of aesthetics and bodybuilding. What mindset shifts separate people who follow through versus those that plan but stall? Awesome question, really amazing question. Big difference between the people that follow through and those that plan but stall, I think, is their relationship with themselves. I keep all of the promises that I make to myself, and so I know that when I make a promise, I have the ability and the conviction to fulfill it. A lot of people will promise things to themselves and then break those promises. And that promise can be anything on a daily basis. It can be, I'm gonna wake up at X time, first thing in the morning, like at 7:30, you have your 7:30 alarm on, and then you snooze it until 7:45. Already before you've started the day, you've broken a promise to yourself. Another example, making your bed. Maybe you said, I'm gonna make my bed every single morning, and then you fail on that. Or you say that you're gonna meet up with a friend for drinks or dinner, and you're too tired or feeling too anxious, and so you don't do it. Again, you're breaking a promise to yourself, you're breaking a promise to your friend. And even though they're tiny examples, that separates the people that follow through on their word and those that don't. So I think keeping promises to yourself on the small things is what allows you to follow through on the big things. If you say, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week for the next 6 months as a promise to yourself, and you keep all the other promises to yourself, and you set a clear, tangible goal with a long-term time frame, and you don't stop when you're tired because you remember that promise that you made to yourself, and you have that respect of yourself to follow through, I think the people that are able to find that within them is what separates those who stall and those who don't. And also, how bad do you want it? It all comes down to how bad you want it. I've made a video on this recently. So many people think they want to get in shape, think they want to be rich, think they want to be, you know, achieve various things, but they're just not willing to pay the price in order to achieve those things. You must be willing to pay the price of the thing that you desire. If you want to be in the shape of your life, but you're not willing to cut out on eating the necessary things and carving out the time in your week and the mental capacity to learn how to train properly, you're not going to be in the best shape of your life. If you want to dedicate yourself to being rich, but you spend 2 hours a night watching Netflix, obviously the same thing applies. It is getting extremely sunny and I'm turning into Squint Eastwood over here. It's a funny one, isn't it? It's not mine. I learned that from Jack, actually. Thanks, Jack. Be stealing your jokes. And I'm going to move the camera slightly so that the sun is right in front of us. Oh my God, breaking the fourth wall. That'll do. All right, everyone ready to continue? Excellent. How do you tell the difference between needing rest and just avoiding discomfort? Awesome question. It's really difficult as well. You have to learn it and you have to make mistakes. You'll go through days where the only way to know the difference between whether you need rest or you're just avoiding discomfort is you're going to get it wrong sometimes. Sometimes you'll have a natural tendency to do one or the other. If you're inherently lazy or like ADHD person, you'll swing to one side of the pendulum, but you'll make mistakes. You will think you're tired and you'll go home and you'll not go to the gym because you think you're tired and you can't do it, and you'll know in your mind that maybe you could have, but maybe you're too tired. You'll go to bed, you'll wake up the next morning, and then you'll look at yourself in the mirror, metaphorically, not necessarily literally, and you'll reflect and think, you know what, actually I could have gone, I was just being a pussy, so I'll bear that in mind next time. And in the same vein, you might be absolutely smashed, like you've just got off a flight, not smashed in terms of alcohol, but you've just got off a flight, or you've been super hectic and you want to train because you said you were going to go and do a session, but you're you're absolutely at your limit, you go and do the training session and then you fall ill, or like you're really knackered and wasn't a good idea. You'll do that and you'll think, okay, next time I'll lay off a little bit. The two questions that I ask myself in order to determine whether I'm actually being a bitch or I actually need to rest is I will ask myself, am I in any physical pain? If I'm in any physical pain, like my calves are sore and I'm meant to go on a run, I won't train through DOMs. Or if if my legs are still sore from the last leg day and I want to train legs again, like I'm not avoiding discomfort there. It's just not a wise idea to train when you have DOMs. Give yourself the necessary rest. In terms of tiredness, I ask myself, if I weren't to train now, would I go to sleep in the next 2 or 3 hours? If I'm so tired that I can go home and go to sleep in the next 2 or 3 hours, then you're probably, you're too tired to get that training session in. But if you were going to train after work at 5 or 6 p.m. and then you were going to go to sleep at 10 p.m. anyway, and you're just going to go home and be awake for the next 4 or 5 hours, you're not really that tired. You could have done a session. So that's a good line that I draw for myself. All right, next question. Do you do coaching, man? I do coaching. Nice work. You got me to say do. I do coaching. Yes, that is my job. I'm a physique coach, helping men either build muscle or lose fat, or a combination of both. Typically a physique coach, but also all areas of physical fitness and competence. I am not taking anyone on at the moment because I'm about to row across the Atlantic, but I do recommend, if you want to work with me one-to-one, that you fill in the application form that is under this video. If you think elite one-to-one personal training is what you want from me, then fill it in, and then once I'm done on the Atlantic, I'm gonna have a big push and a big intake. So yeah, you will be top of the list because I'm going to go through it in chronological order. So get it in early if that is of interest, but I won't be reaching out to you until obviously I'm back on land again. Besides the travel, do you have a net worth target? 5 million, 10 million, 20 million? Wow, they're high benchmarks. I don't have a net worth target. I have a lifestyle target. And that lifestyle target is owning my own property, being in charge of my own surroundings, being the master of my kingdom, and having sufficient income in order to look after myself, look after my family and my loved ones, and being time wealthy as well. So having the time in order to do the things that I want to do, prioritize the things I want to prioritize, and have a steady and stable income that allows me to provide for the people I love. That's literally all that matters to me. I'll then have enough money to, go on the trips, do the adventures, provide for the people I care about. I think an arbitrary figure like 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, you can get lost in. And a lot of the wealthiest people in the world, I don't aspire to be like, because I don't want to trade all of my time in the pursuit of money, which isn't a noble or satisfying pursuit for me. Obviously, a certain amount of money allows you to do the things that I just mentioned. Above that, does it increase your net happiness? Not so much. In saying that, I do have a monthly income target, which I'm profusely working towards over the next couple of years. So there is that as well. But that's the way I think about it, is more in terms of money coming in and your surroundings, rather than like reaching a number of net worth. What is your job before start your YouTube channel? Thanks, man. I was an operations manager for a very big company, typically working in a warehouse, and I would do a shift pattern, but it was always the same shift for a year or so on end. And it taught me a lot. I'm very grateful for it. It brought me to a breaking point somewhat, because I was so miserable in that job that it forced me to decide what I wanted to do next. And I learned so much because I was a manager in charge of between 20 and 100 people at various points. Lots of public speaking, lots of practicing empathy, lots of process improvements. It was an extremely well-rounded job that pushed me a lot, and I learned a lot and developed a lot. And it lended itself, the speaking obviously lended itself into starting this. And yeah, I have no regrets in life in general. I know that wasn't the question, a bit deep, Adam, because you can always, you either win or you learn always, and there's always lessons to be had. And even if things are painful and in the moment feel pointless, or like you're not on the right path, retrospectively, you'll always look back or you should always look back. I said should, you got me. You can always look back and see the value in the lessons that you learn. How unbearable are you going to be once you can tell people you rode an ocean? Brackets rooting for you. I know the guy who wrote that is one of my clients. So yeah, Seth, nice work. I'm going to be even more unbearable than I am right now. I'm going to tell you every single time I speak to you, and tell everyone else for that matter as well. This question I like because it's outrageous phrasing. Is there any future plan to become an action movie star sooner or later? Would love to watch your high voltage action flick on the big screen. Please don't forget to answer in your Q&A video. And you said please answer it, so yeah, I'll answer it, buddy. From India. God, testing my flag knowledge. That is India, isn't it? Yeah. Well, a high voltage action flick. That is the most Indian description of an action movie. There's no plan to do it. It's not in line with what I need in order to enjoy my life, but it would be fun. And that goes for all like TV, mainstream media opportunities. Like I would take them on if they suited me. And so yeah, if there was a project that I was in line with, 100% would take something on like that. How do you know when you are reaching your peak? You know because, well, firstly, you've got to just keep trying and keep trying to improve constantly, and you'll get to a point where you get extremely diminishing returns on your attempt to improve. So, for example, with bodybuilding, started off, like my curve was a bit wiggly waggly. I've never said wiggly waggly on camera before. So say I started here with my physique, it was like a slow linear increase at the start, and then it really like took off parabolically as I got better, got to the physique that I wanted. Now let's move the axis back over here again. And then over the last five years, it's kind of been a slow, slight increase. My muscles become more mature and hardened, and I've got slightly more muscle mass, and it's just kind of flatlined. If I wanted to get bigger, I could, only slightly, but it would be extremely diminishing returns, and also it would require a hell of a lot more sacrifice from me. I'd have to live like a monk in order to do that. Yeah, the only way to know if you're close to your peak is because you keep trying and you keep not improving. But that peak is probably way higher than you anticipate. So just keep going. What else are you gonna do? Just keep going. Was traveling something you always wanted to do? Nice question. Yes. I didn't leave Europe until I was 2019, until I was 21, 2 years old, after I finished uni. Think about that. So I'm from the UK and I'd done various trips around Europe, but I'd never properly left Europe except for like a holiday as a kid, until I was like 21, 22 years old. And so I did have this lust for adventure, of all the incredible landscapes and adventures that were to be had all around the world. And so I knew I needed to get out there and experience those things. I didn't know for what amount of time or that I'd make it such a big part of my life. But I'm drawn to new experiences. I love experiencing the whole spectrum of human emotions and experiences on this planet. And so it's necessary to put yourself in new environments in order to achieve those experiences. And I would just see things from various continents. The first one that I had a strong desire to go to was Southeast Asia. Obviously Africa is just incredible as a continent, and South America I just knew nothing about as well and had no expectations before going into it. And as you've seen, if you've been following me, you'll know that the reason I go to these places is to do certain things. So one of the main reasons I went to Ecuador was to climb Chimborazo. One of the main reasons I went to the Philippines when I first started this channel was to learn to scuba dive. The main reason I went to Indonesia was to learn to surf. So I choose specific challenges in specific places, and you've got to go to different places to learn from the best and have the best environment to learn those things. And it was really when I watched The Beach. I'm a big movie fan, and I watched The Beach, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, when I was maybe 18 years oldish, and just saw that and thought, what a wild adventure. I would love to have that kind of just getting lost and experiencing new things and not knowing what next turn was around the corner. And so that made me fall in love with the idea of going traveling in Southeast Asia specifically. And also my heroes and inspirations going up, so many people on TV and films where I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Really struggling with lower pec, recommend dips and high-low flies. The main thing to remember with your pecs is I wouldn't look at it with any more granularity than the fact that you have a pec major and a pec minor. So your pec major, it contributes to the majority of your chest here, and the pec minor connects to your clavicle up here. And so your pec minor is best isolated during incline presses, and your pec major is best activated also during incline, but flat and decline presses. So an example of a classic decline press would be a dip or a decline press on a bench. A flat press would be a push-up or a press up. I can't remember which ones the Americans call it. A bench press, obviously barbell or dumbbell. And then also for the pec minor, an incline press Adam, stop doing this on social media, you're going to get cancelled. And the function of the chest is twofold. To bring your arm from behind you in this kind of motion, from behind you to in front of you, bringing your elbow forwards, and also bringing your elbow from out to in as these fibers stretch and contract. And so bear that in mind when you're selecting your programming, everything I just said. So when it comes to building a well-rounded chest and a well-rounded physique, you just want to be thinking about all of the angles that you are moving in. And so in terms of optimal chest development, you want to be doing something where you're pushing in this direction, and something where you're pushing in this direction, and something where you're pushing in this direction, and something where you're bringing your arms in rather than just pushing forwards. So when I talk about this, we're obviously talking about flies, and when I talk about this, we're talking about pushes. That could be a dip, and that could be an incline press. And so when it comes to the lower chest, my recommendation is dips, definitely. And make sure you pivot your torso slightly, so you're angling your torso down to make sure you're activating your chest. And then obviously you can decline press as well, but the dip is a far superior movement. So that's what I would suggest. But don't focus on the lower pec too much, just focus on your overall body fat and your pec development by doing flat presses, and your lower pec will come together. I used to be super focused on my upper chest, and really wanted it to grow more than the main part of my chest, my pec major. And so I'd do everything I could to grow my upper chest, and the reality was as soon as I just grew the overall mass, it all sorted itself out. So that's my advice on that. My gosh, we have a lot more questions to do, so I'm gonna try, because this is the last one. I could die on the Atlantic as well, then it would be the last one ever. Imagine if I died now, you'd be crying watching this. Hopefully, some of you wouldn't care. My enemies, if you're still watching this far in. Ridiculous. Do you remember me? I'm the dude from Texas that's followed you since you had only 300 subscribers. I do remember you, Aaron, because you have that Texas flag in your picture on YouTube. Yeah, you're a legend. Thank you for commenting. I remember everyone that comments, even now, the regular commenters, I remember all of you. Obviously, not obviously, but I do. If you comment on every video, obviously I know who you are and I reply to you. So yeah, I do, and I appreciate you, more than you know. Can I marry you? Almost definitely not. How tall are you? I am 6 foot tall, or 182 centimeters technically, if you want to count it in metric, which some of you will. How do I build bigger arms? Used to be super skinny, added some size, but still skinny arms. Nice work on adding some size. Most people, this is why I've talked about not isolating your arms before, because most people just focus on building their biceps and their triceps, and then they neglect having a thick torso. So well done on building some size. If you feel like your arms are lagging, my favorite bicep exercise is the preacher curl, because you've got that support behind your tricep and you can really isolate the bicep. Also with cables like this, I don't know if that's a crucifix curl, it was called, something like that. Oh, look at me go. Got distracted. They are great bicep exercises. And triceps, you want to be doing mainly an overhead tricep extension movement, because you're getting enough. There's 3 heads of the tricep. I'm not going to bore you with the details in this because it's a Q&A, but essentially from your compound pushing, you're activating 2 of the heads, and from your tricep extension overhead, you're activating that 3rd and final head. You can do that with a cable pulley, you can do that with a dumbbell, and you can do it with skull crushers. I like skull crushers. Do you like skull crushers? Next question. Where did you get your grey pattern shirt? Oh, I answered that on Instagram actually. I got that one in Thailand from a random shop in Phuket Old Town. So good luck on your quest. Maybe you'll find it. If you find it, I'll pay for it. So send me a picture. If anyone, yeah, the first, but no, I'm not gonna pay for everyone. All right, the first 3 people that wear the same shirt that I found in Phuket Old Town, I'll send you the money on PayPal or Wise or something. What was the first adventure that completely changed your mindset, and what was the turning point? Awesome question, Sam. Really awesome. It was my first ever mountain climb. So I remember sitting in a lecture in first year of university. I was 19 years old or 18 years old. And I was just so bored, man. Mechanical engineering lecture, it's probably fluid dynamics or something like that. And I was like, I've got to do something this summer. What am I going to do? And I realized I'd never climbed a mountain before, and I'd seen a couple of other people who climbed Mount Snowdon. And I thought it was like a really intense challenge at the start. And certainly it pushed me outside of my comfort zone at the start. I was really proud of that achievement. So I planned with a mate, Mike, and we drove over to Wales and climbed Mount Snowdon. Ended up doing it barefoot because I got blisters within the first 10 minutes. And so, yeah, climbed Mount Snowdon in 2 hours, got to the top, incredible views, out in nature, first ever mountain. that sense of achievement, and the sense that, you know, I didn't know if I could do this, and I can do it. And that made me think, okay, well, I want to do the other 3 peaks. I want to do Ben Nevis, and I want to do Scafell Pike. I did all of those. Then I lived in Carlisle for a year in the northwest of England, and that is very near the Lake District. So then I went on loads of Lake District trips and got familiar with the Lake District. And that's just kind of what started that growth mindset of getting out in nature and doing more difficult things. And, you know, I started that was at like 19 years old. So, you know, you can start at any age. Do you ever feel scared or feel fear about doing something? All the time. I'm always, not always anxious and fearful, but I'm often scared and fearful because I'm always pushing my limit and doing something that I find uncomfortable. So yes, you should feel scared. You should do things that scare you on purpose, and you should do them anyway, regardless of that fear. You have to, as I said before when I was talking about confidence, you have to feel that fear and you have to go and do it anyway. You realize it wasn't that bad, you could do it, and you know you can do it again next time. But remember that confidence is a perishable trait. And what I mean by that is, if you don't constantly practice your confidence, it will diminish and you will recede into yourself a little bit and be less confident. So you have to keep killing your fears and expanding your confidence, or at least maintaining it. Otherwise you will kind of forget how to do things and forget that you have that proof that you can do what you think you can. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are nearing the end. Let's find some more nice ones. How are you so sure leaving your 9-to-5 job and becoming full-time content creator and living our dreams? I don't know if you mean your dreams, like my dreams, or all of our dreams, but I hope, well, hopefully you can live your dreams too, whatever they are. How are you so sure? I wasn't sure. No, of course I wasn't sure. I left my job with a plan A and a plan B. I had a certain amount of money that I'd saved up, and my plan was, plan A, make some videos, enjoy myself traveling, become a better man by becoming better at things, doing different challenges and more worldly. And then when you've done your travels and you've posted it all online and you've documented it, if people are interested, you can keep going and make money. If people aren't interested, you can go back to the grind, the rat race, but hopefully in a more fulfilling way than the one that you left. What I realized was, in order to succeed, and when I really started to succeed, was when I committed to that mindset of, no, this is really what I want and I have to make this happen. And then once I'd committed to that, things just really started to accelerate. Do you think it will come the time when you think, well, it's been fun, but it's time to settle down? Great question. It depends what you mean by settle down, because, you know, I'm 28 years old and hopefully I'll live till around 100. I'm only in the first innings, if there were 4 innings. Technically I'll be in the second innings, wouldn't I, if there's 4. And it's certainly not time to settle down now in terms of not pushing yourself, not learning, not growing. If you mean geographically, I go where the adventures are and my priorities are. I think a few of you know my priorities if you watched a few of these videos. There's things I want to still prove to myself and achieve, and I have to go to different places in order to do that. But I'm certainly not on the road constantly like I was when I started and did those first 3 trips in Southeast Asia, Africa, and South America. Now I'm more kind of based in one place and going to a place in order to do things, and traveling way more slowly. I'm just in a place doing something rather than moving through it. And if you mean in terms of family, like you can obviously play the numbers game with dating and find someone, but you know, time's on my side, and when that happens, when the right person comes around and it becomes clear, you make it work. Not a question, but a thank you for being my motivation. I got a diving license. You're my idol. You're a legend, mate. Thank you for sending that. Congratulations. I don't know, I assume you mean scuba. Yeah, awesome work. Really, really makes me happy, to be honest. Really pleased that I've had a positive impact in inspiring you to get on with it. And I hope you have many successful dives. I met you once at Pure Gym St. Paul's, but I wasn't brave enough to say hi. So hi here. Well, you didn't meet me technically if you didn't say hi, and I know you didn't say hi because I'm me and obviously we didn't say hi. And I've been there once or twice, so yeah, you would have seen me. Next time do. It's weird if you just stay there and stare at me and don't let me know that you know me. Come over, say hi. I don't bite, unless you want me to. Yeah, so come and say hi if you see me next time. Not that I have any plans to go to Pure Gym in St. Paul's again. Will you come to Montenegro? I've been already, bro. Check it out, check the video out. If we see you somewhere, can we say hi or take a photo with you? Yes, of course. I'm nowhere near famous enough for that to be an issue. If it becomes a problem, then I've done something right. How often drinking alcohol? Alcohol doesn't serve me in a lot of cases, so I don't drink it very often. I will get very, very drunk, like 10 plus drinks once a year, a couple of times a year. I'll get moderately drunk a couple of times a year, like five to 10 drinks. I will have 1 or 2 beers or cocktails or whatever whenever I feel like it, if the setting's right and I want to take the edge off the existential dread that is life on planet Earth. I'm 25 tomorrow and I feel so lost in life. I don't know what or how to do to get my life on track for my future. Firstly, I'm very sorry that you feel that way. I felt exactly the same way when I was exactly 25 years old. Felt very lost and didn't know what the future looked like for me. But I have some excellent news for you. And the news is that you don't need to know what the rest of your life looks like. You don't need to know what you'll be doing in 5 years or 50 years. You just need to build the habits that allow you to become slightly better of your version of yourself every single day, and make conscious choices to orient your life to lead towards something that you deem a successful life in your regard. So obviously when I was 25, I looked at my boss's boss's boss at work and thought to myself, you know, in 5 to 10 years, I'll be in that position. Is that the life that I want? The answer was no. So I thought, well, why would I continue on this path if that's not the life that I want? And in the same way, you don't know what or how to get your life on track for your future. But I think you do. You need to identify the things that you're least happy about in your life, whether that's, are you out of shape? Are you fat? Are you skinny? Would you rather become fitter? Do you want to become a better runner? Getting in shape will give you some great confidence and teach you a lot of lessons. Are you financially secure? Do you have a lot of money or enough money? Have you got savings? Have you got the ability to save? They're things that you can work on, get better at. Are you confident? Do you push yourself, whether that's in going out on dates or public speaking? I know I use those examples quite a lot, but they're 2 areas that a lot of people identify with as getting a fright when they have to engage in those situations. So, you know, are you able to communicate effectively? If not, then that's something you can do to become a more well-rounded person. You know, focus on those 3 things: money, fitness, and communication. They're great ways to orient your life in the right direction. And my best advice is think back to when you were a child. What did the childlike version of you enjoy the most? And don't shy away from those things. You know, if you loved playing football as a kid and now you've stopped playing football, try and join a local team. You'll make some friends there and you'll pick up a hobby again that you let die because you were an adult and you thought you had to only start doing adult things, you know. Try and listen to yourself and listen to your gut when it comes to choosing the job that you want, if you have the opportunity to choose, obviously, or maneuver your job and your hobbies as well. Learn to play again. What legacy do you want to give to people in this world? Legacy is a big question and it's a big word, and I'm big into my history, so I am often reflecting on the way that societies have changed over the last few thousand years. And it's incredible to think how many people that lived 1,000 years ago do we know the name of and remember. You know, how many people that lived 100 years ago do we know the name of and remember? Very few people. When you die, in 1 generation, some people will remember your name. In 2 generations, barely anyone will remember your name, most likely, unless you achieve something extremely extraordinary. And so I don't concern myself with legacy or wanting to be remembered for multiple generations. That's not something that my ego needs. But I do concern myself with being a good, solid role model for my family and my future family, whatever that looks like, and also for anyone that watches these videos and takes inspiration from them, because I used to watch YouTube and take inspiration from a previous generation of YouTubers. And so yeah, I don't really care about legacy as such. I just care about having a positive impact on individual people, so that they realize that they are strong and capable of things that they didn't realize that they were. Oh my goodness, we've accidentally got to the final question, and it is a deep one. So I'm going to brace myself before I answer it. And also I'm not going to finish on this one. I'm going to find another one so that this isn't the end of the Q&A. Did I just spill water down me? That was embarrassing. I've recently broken up with my avoidant ex. Any suggestions on ways to heal and distract? I like the fact that you've used the terminology heal and distract. It suggests that you are very much set on moving on and becoming a better version of yourself, and you recognize that distraction is somewhat necessary in order to get over the initial immediacy of the emotional pain of the breakup, and obviously you recognize that long-term healing is the goal here. So distraction is a coping mechanism and healing is the end goal. You've also labeled them as avoidant, which I would say is very easy. I've fallen into this trap before, to want to scapegoat a specific word or a therapy culture label onto someone else in order to justify their actions or the way that they treated you, and to call them avoidant is very easy. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether they have an attachment issue, whether they're avoidant, anxious, secure, or some other psychological trait that made them made you two not click and made you break up. The bottom line is, as hard as this is to hear, I've had to hear it too, and other people have had to hear it from me, like whether they're avoidant or not, the bottom line is they're avoiding you, so it doesn't really matter whether they're avoidant. Like, the bottom line is they're avoiding you, you now have to avoid her, and you've got to move on. And the best thing you can do in terms of moving on is, as a man, is just upskill yourself and become better. She'll keep an eye on you, and she'll look back and see the version of yourself that you become. Regardless of how that conversation ended, in 5 years' time, you want her to look at you and think, damn, he's doing well. And so all you can do in terms of healing and distracting is focus on all of the things that I've spoken about in this video, is my advice. That's what I would do, is just become better, stronger, smarter, richer, all of those things, and focus on your work, focus on your pursuits, focus on yourself, and just keep becoming better, and pour yourself into those things. Don't get back into the dating market, maybe, would be a suggestion, because, especially while you're healing, because no one else needs to deal with your trauma. So work on yourself for a bit. Maybe get your end away if you need the immediate validation, and then go back. Definitely don't be dating though, and then go back to just working on yourself and get yourself into a position where you're healed and you're ready to go again. I'm healed, send me another emotionally unavailable brunette, you'll be saying. Right, we're done, but I can't finish on that one. Ven a España. My limited Spanish tells me that means, when are you coming to Spain? I was in Spain recently, in Seville, skydiving around my birthday, so you missed me. What else can we answer quickly? And this will be the last one. Here we go. Drop your Spotify playlist link again, please. Yes, I will drop my Spotify playlist link. This has some podcasts that I've been on. It has my gym playlist for when, on the rare occasion that I rely on music in the gym. And also, I'm building a massive rowing playlist for the row across the Atlantic with a very eclectic mix of songs. You'll get a deep insight into my soul by listening to this. So you can stick that on. And you can enjoy my music if you want to. That will be in the description too, if I remember to add all of those things to the description. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. This was a fun one, and yeah, really enjoyed it. This is it now. That was enjoyed that. That's all I've got to say, really. Hope you enjoyed it too. Thanks for being here. Do subscribe. Get that clicked. See you on the next adventure.
Oh, you want me to say that?
You have to.
Oh, I have to. Like and subscribe.
No, say it with conviction and look
Please like and subscribe. Adam Radcliffe at YouTube,
.com.
Instagram, Facebook.